Jars of Hope: How one woman helped save 2,500 children during the Holocaust. Otwick, Poland, 1917. Irina noticed things. She noticed that some people were treated differently than others. Sometimes Irina's father took her with him on his doctor's visits. The children in the neighborhood where he treated patients spoke Yiddish. They also went to the Jewish temple. Irina heard the mean things that other said about the Jewish people. Most people in her neighborhood stayed away from the Jewish neighborhoods. Irina often played with the Jewish children. Papa, Irina asked, are some people really better than others? Irina, her beloved father said, there are two kinds of people in this world, good and bad. It doesn't matter if they are rich or poor, what religion or race, what matters if they are good or bad. Irina's father died when she was only 7 years old, but his wise words did not die with him. They lived on in Irina's heart. Warsaw, Poland, 1940. Irina wanted to be a good person. To help poor families in Warsaw, she took a job as a social worker. In 1939, Germany had invaded Poland. Germany's leader, Adolf Hitler, led the Nazi Party. He believed Jewish people were unequal to the Germans. World War II had begun. I'm here to give people vaccines, said Irina. She was entering the Warsaw Ghetto. By 1940, Germans had forced almost 500,000 Polish Jews to move into this space within the city. It was less than 2 square miles, 5.2 square kilometers. A tall brick wall, topped with barbed wire and shards of glass, surrounded the ghetto. The Germans had told the Polish people a lie, that they were not allowed to enter the ghetto because they'd catch diseases. Go in, said the soldier. We don't want sickness spreading outside the walls. Irina was frightened at first, but she had seen how badly the Nazis treated the Jews. She was worried about all of the people trapped in the ghetto, simply because of their religion. Miss, do you have any food? A child called to Irina. My baby is sick, a woman pleaded. Please, can you help? There are so many people in need, thought Irina. What can one person do? Irina thought of something her father told her. When someone is drowning, he said, give them your hand. Irina talked to friends she could trust. We can sneak food and medicine into the ghetto, Irina told them, if we are very careful. It will be dangerous, said her friend Jaga Purtwaska. If the Nazis catch us, they may kill us. So will you do it? Irina asked. Of course, Jaga responded. Irina and her helpers bravely began sneaking food, medicine, and other aid into the ghetto. But soon, their mission became more urgent and even more dangerous. Starting July 1942, German soldiers forced more than 6,000 Jewish people per day into cattle cars on trains. The Jews had no idea where they were going. The trains took them to Treblinka, a place where the Nazis would put them to death. Irina organized. Irina had many helpers. One was a truck driver named Antoni. He was allowed to drive the truck in and out of the ghetto. The first time he and Irina tried to sneak out a baby in the truck, the baby cried. The German soldiers at the gate almost caught them. The next time Irina brought a child to the truck, she found a surprise. There's a large dog in the front seat. This is Shepsy, Antoni said. She's quite talented and well trained. We don't need to worry about the baby in the back crying, he whispered. The truck inched its way to the border gate and stopped. From the back, the baby began to wail. The guard came closer. Oh no, thought Irina. Surely we will be caught. Just then, Antoni tapped Shepsy's paw. The big dog began barking, which made the soldier's dogs bark too. The loud dogs drowned out the baby's cries, and the guard let the truck pass through the ghetto gates. July 18, 1942. Irina knocked on a door. When the door opened, she took a deep breath and walked in. It is time, she said. Henia Kopel gently placed her baby girl into Irina's carpenter's toolbox. Irina looked down at the baby, Beata, her innocent face, and her tiny body snuggled into the blanket she was wrapped in. The baby smiled. Irina put a drop of medicine into Beata's mouth to make her sleepy. She fixed the blanket, making sure the box's air holes were clear. As Irina began to close the box, the baby's grandfather quickly slipped something inside. It was a small silver spoon marked with the baby's name and birthday. Elzbieta, 5 January 1942. A gift from her mama and papa, he said, wiping tears from his eyes. Irina took a deep breath. She stepped out into the Warsaw Ghetto, carrying her precious cargo. Irina knocked on more doors. Please let your child go with me, Irina begged. I will do my best to save him. What promises can you give that our child will live? The parents asked Irina. I can only guarantee that if your child stays here, he will die, Irina answered. When the parents agreed to let their child go, Irina had to make a decision. What was the best way to rescue the child? Your child is small, Irina told the parents of the younger children. We will smuggle her out inside a potato sack, hidden in a coffin, or underneath the trash in a cart. Irina spoke directly to the older children she rescued. Be brave, she said. From this moment, your name is not Isaac. It is Pyotr. Say your new name over and over until you believe you are Pyotr. Then you must quickly memorize the Lord's Prayer. You are now a Catholic child. Pyotr learned and practiced the Lord's Prayer, making the sign of the cross as he spoke. Good, said Irina. Now you are ready. Follow me. They hurried into the courthouse that straddled the border of the ghetto. Irina made Pyotr change out of his old clothes and into new, fresh ones. Then they walked through the back door, which led outside to the ghetto safely. Other times, Irina's helpers were busy underground. The helpers, called legions, led the Jewish children through the maze of sewer tunnels to freedom and safety. November 1942. Irina joined Zagoda. Zagoda was a secret group of brave Polish men and women that wanted to aid and rescue Jews. Irina would be in charge of helping the Jewish children. She and her network continued sneaking children out of the ghetto every day. But where did the children go? Irina found many brave people to take in the children. There were foster families who agreed to keep the smaller children. Some children went to Polish orphanages. Others went to convents where nuns took care of them. Everyone knew that if they were caught hiding a Jewish child, they would be put to death. But these courageous people risked their own lives to save the children. They knew it was the right thing to do. Irina kept records. Not only did Irina and her helpers rescue children, but they made sure each child was safe and well cared for. Irina and her helpers delivered money, supplies, food to the foster families who cared for the children. The children are in good hands now, Irina told her friend Yaga, but when the war ends, they will need to be reunited with their parents, and I have been keeping lists of the children's real names along with their new names and where they are. Me too, said Yaga. If the Nazis find the list, they may kill us and hunt down the children and their caregivers. Every child deserves to know her real name, Irina insisted, and the children's families will want to find them. But you're right. It is very dangerous and we need to be careful. Irina's apartment, October 20th, 1942. Irina was caught. She always knew that saving children came with a great risk. Her greatest fear was about to become very real. Bang, bang, bang! Open up, a man shouted, pounding on the door. It's the Gestapo, Irina whispered. Irina grabbed her lists and went to the window to throw them outside, but there were more secret police waiting out there. The building was surrounded. Bang, bang! Irina desperately tossed the lists of names to Yanina, a friend who was staying with her. Yanina snuck the lists under her arm, beneath her clothing. Then Irina opened the door. Gestapo police swarmed into the room. They tore apart Irina's home, but they did not find the lists. They did, however, take Irina away. Powake Prison, October 1943. Irina went to prison. Powake Prison was a place that the Gestapo questioned and punished people who broke Nazi law. Tell us what you know about Zagoda, the Gestapo policeman demanded. I don't know anything, Irina replied. I'm just a social worker. The man lashed Irina's legs and feet, first with a whip, then with a strap, but Irina stayed silent. Irina's days were always the same. In prison, Irina worked 12 days scrubbing the laundry. Then she was questioned and beaten for not giving the names of her Zagoda friends. She got very little food. Hunger and pain kept her from getting a good night's sleep. Days turned into months. 3 months. Powake Prison, January 1944. January 1944. Irina's name was called. Irina Sendler, a guard yelled. Irina was pushed into a truck with other women crammed inside. They were taken to a Gestapo headquarters. We will be put to death, Irina thought. I am proud I did not give up any information. I am not afraid to die. Irina was pushed into a room and fell on her knees. An officer pulled her up and led her through a door. You are free, the officer said in Polish. Get out of here as fast as you can. Irina hid. Zagota had paid the officer a lot of money to free Irina, but now she had to go into hiding because the Nazis believed she was dead. Irina hid in a friend's house. For a few days, she even hid in the Warsaw Zoo, sleeping in a cage with baby foxes. But she continued her work with Zagota, and thanks to her friends, she still had the lists of children she had saved. Late summer 1944. Irina hid the lists. The Warsaw Uprising had begun. There was fighting in the streets. Irina wanted to make sure her lists would be safe, even if something happened to her. At midnight, one friend, she and Yaga, tiptoed outside Yaga's house to the backyard. The friends dug up the hard ground with a knife and spoon. Irina's jars of names. Jars of hope. The end.